First, it was Con Ed which made the critical decision to invoke a gas moratorium in southern Westchester County. And now Fios 1 News has learned National Grid is also threatening to do the same across Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island.
It's an important issue, not just for National Grid. It's an important issue for all of us. We will all have to deal with the consequences.
In fact, John Bruckner, New York president of National Grid, says moratoriums have been imposed to large-scale development clients who have sought new natural gas applications since December. While giving us a tour of the utility company's gas control center, the National Grid president said the utility company sent letters 2 weeks ago to its medium-sized clients that said no new gas applications. Those receiving the grim news include the developers behind the $1 billion Belmont Park redevelopment project in Elmont, Long Island.
We've had to turn them away because we don't have confidence in a successful completion of NESE yet because the permits are still held up.
NESE, otherwise known as the Northeast Supply Expansion Pipeline, is what Bruckner says will save the utility company from issuing the moratorium. The natural gas expansion project looks to add an additional pipeline to the Transco Pipeline, the nation's largest natural gas pipeline stretching 10,000 miles from South Texas to New York.
That pipeline is maxed out. It's operating at capacity.
Chris Stockton is the spokesperson for Williams, an energy infrastructure company that built and owns the Transco Pipeline. Williams will also construct the Northeast Supply Expansion Pipeline, which it says will provide an additional 14% of natural gas capacity to our region.
This project will ultimately allow us to transport more natural gas to National Grid to keep up with their growing natural gas demand in their service territory.
The Northeast Supply Enhancement Pipeline will connect with the Transco Pipeline, which is about 3 miles south of here, underneath the lower New York Bay. It will then travel about 24 miles underneath Jamaica Bay through to Marine Park, Brooklyn. And then it will connect here at Floyd Bennett Field, the connection providing an additional 400 million cubic feet of natural gas to the region per day. Enough natural gas to serve the needs of about 2.3 million homes by the winter of 2020. But the determination as to whether that will happen lies within the hands of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. DEC will decide whether a permit will be granted for the pipeline project. Governor Andrew Cuomo has been clear about his stance on pipeline projects, including the Constitution Pipeline upstate, as he explained to a reporter from the environmental group Food and Water Watch last May.
Pipelines we have.
Yes.
Power plants that burn gas we have all over the state. We would have to close them, and that's the long-term plan.
They conflict with your climate goals.
Yes,
to move
they do.
Assemblyman Tom Abenanti, whose district is directly affected by the Con Ed gas moratorium, is one of several assembly members who push for additional funding for renewable energy in this year's state budget. With the Con Ed moratorium and the possible threat of the National Grid moratorium, who's to blame here?
Well, like I said, I think everyone is to blame. I think that the public sector should have pushed the private sector much harder to move forward.
National Grid says it has invested millions in alternative renewable energy, including a home roof solar panel program. It has even invested hundreds of millions of dollars in offshore wind energy companies. But Bruckner says American ingenuity is just not there yet for mass production of these energy sources. So until American ingenuity is, Bruckner says the NESE project is a must. We'll see if the Department of Environmental Conservation agrees when it renders its decision by May 15th. Ray Mundy, Fios 1 News.